Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, born October 7, 1952, is a Russian politician and former intelligence officer who has been serving as the president of Russia since 2012, having previously served between 2000 and 2008. 70 He was the Prime Minister of Russia from 1999 to 2000 and again from 2008 to 2012. Putin worked as a KGB foreign intelligence officer for 16 years, rising to the rank of lieutenant colonel podpolkovnik, before resigning in 1991 to begin a political career in St. Petersburg. He moved to Moscow in 1996 to join the administration of President Boris Yeltsin. He briefly served as director of the Federal Security Service (FSB) and secretary of the Security Council, before being appointed as prime minister in August 1999. After the resignation of Yeltsin, Putin became acting president and, less than 4 months later, was elected outright to his first term as president. He was re-elected in 2004. As he was constitutionally limited to 2 consecutive terms as president at the time, Putin served as prime minister again from 2008 to 2012 under Dmitry Medvedev. He returned to the presidency in 2012 in an election marred by allegations of fraud and protests and was re-elected in 2018. In April 2021, following a referendum, he signed into law constitutional amendments including one that would allow him to run for re-election twice more, potentially extending his presidency to 2036. 8-9 During his first tenure as president, the Russian economy grew on average by 7% per year, 10 following economic reforms and a 5-fold increase in the price of oil and gas. 11-12 He also led Russia during a war against Chechen separatists, re-establishing federal control of the region. 13-14 As prime minister under Medvedev, he oversaw a war against Georgia as well as military and police reform. During his third term as president, Russia annexed Crimea and sponsored a war in eastern Ukraine with several military incursions made, resulting in international sanctions and a financial crisis in Russia. 15 He also ordered a military intervention in Syria against rebel and jihadist groups. 16 During his fourth term as president, he presided over a military buildup on the border of Ukraine. Putin falsely accused the Ukrainian government of committing atrocities against its Russian-speaking minority. 17 And in February 2022, he ordered a full-scale invasion of the country, leading to widespread international condemnation, as well as expanded sanctions and calls for Putin to be pursued with war crime charges. 18 Under Putin's leadership, Russia has experienced democratic backsliding and a shift to authoritarianism. Putin's rule has been characterized by endemic corruption, the jailing and repression of political opponents, the intimidation and suppression of independent media in Russia, human rights violations, and a lack of free and fair elections. 19-20-21 Putin's Russia has scored poorly on Transparency International's Corruption Perceptions Index, The Economist Intelligence Unit's Democracy Index, and Freedom House's Freedom in the World Index. Putin is the second longest currently serving European president after Alexander Lukashenko of Belarus.
Putin was born on October 7, 1952 in Leningrad, Soviet Union now St. Petersburg, Russia. 22-23 The youngest of 3 children of Vladimir Spiridonovich Putin 1911-1999 and Maria Ivanovna Putina Shelomova 1911-1998. His grandfather, Spiridon Putin, was a personal cook to Vladimir Lenin and Joseph Stalin. 24-25 Putin's birth was preceded by the deaths of 2 brothers, Albert, born in the 1930s, died in infancy, and Victor, born in 1940, died of diphtheria and starvation in 1942 during the siege of Leningrad by Nazi Germany's forces in World War II. 26-27 Putin's mother was a factory worker and his father was a conscript in the Soviet Navy, serving in the submarine fleet in the early 1930s. Early in World War II, his father served in the Destruction Battalion of the NKVD. 28-29-30 Later, he was transferred to the regular army and was severely wounded in 1942. 31 Putin's maternal grandmother was killed by the German occupiers of Tver region in 1941, and his maternal uncles disappeared on the Eastern Front during World War II. 32 On September 1, 1960, Putin started at school number 193 at Boskov Lane, near his home. He was one of a few in the class of approximately 45 pupils who were not yet members of the Young Pioneer organization. At age 12, he began to practice Sambo and Judo. 33 In his free time, he enjoyed reading the works of Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, and Lenin. 34 Putin studied German at St. Petersburg High School 281 and speaks German as a second language. 35 Putin studied law at the Leningrad State University named after Andrei Zhdanov, now St. Petersburg State University, in 1970 and graduated in 1975. 36 His thesis was on the most favored nation trading principle in international law. 37 While there, he was required to join the Communist Party of the Soviet Union CPSU and remained a member until it ceased to exist in 1991. 38 Putin met Anatoly Sobchak, an assistant professor who taught business law, and who later became the co-author of the Russian Constitution and of corruption schemes in France. Putin would be influential in Sobchak's career in St. Petersburg, and Sobchak would be influential in 1975. Putin joined the KGB and trained at the 401st KGB school in Okta, Leningrad. 2240 After training, he worked in the 2nd Chief Directorate Counterintelligence, before he was transferred to the 1st Chief Directorate, where he monitored foreigners and consular officials in Leningrad. 2241-42 In September 1984, Putin was sent to Moscow for further training at the Yuri Andropov Red Banner Institute. 43-44-45 Multiple reports have suggested Putin was sent by the KGB to New Zealand, allegedly working for some time undercover as, among at least one other alias, a bought shoe salesman in central Wellington. 46-47-48 From 1985 to 1990, he served in Dresden, East Germany. 49 Using a cover identity as a translator. 50 Unlike Putin's presence in East Germany, his time in New Zealand has never been confirmed by Russian security services, but corroborated through New Zealand eyewitness accounts and government records. Former Waitakere City Mayor Bob Harvey and Prime Minister during the 1980s David Lange both allege that Putin served in both Wellington and Auckland. 46